Hi, I'm Mike Avard. Welcome back to VTblogosphereTV. We're up to episode 8 right now, and Christian Avard's with us. And he's come all the way up from Dummerston, Bennington area?
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for bringing this 50-degree weather with you. It's just coming up from the Southland. It was 0 2 days ago, if you can believe it, and now you brought the southern climes our way up to Montpelier. Appreciate you making the trip.
Anytime.
Christian has got an incredible array of blogging he does out there in the world. He's a front pager at Green Mountain Daily. He also blogs for the Huffington Post, which is national. And then I guess Air America Radio has an online world there.
It sorta. I mean, they do have some guest bloggers, and I happen to know the editor of the website and got connected with him and said, you want to start submitting some posts for us as well. Excellent. Similar to the interviews in Huffington Post, and that was that.
Great. And then you also write for Docu-Dharma.
Yep, contributing editor for that.
Okay,
yep.
Which is a spin-off of Daily Kos, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, still going here, Brattleboro, which I guess is makes a point of not being a blog, but
yeah.
Functions in some online journalistic fashion. We
Yes.
can explore sort of some of the differences here. But first up, I'd like to explore the difference because you're also a reporter for a quote-unquote old media, or quote-unquote the dead tree media,
Yeah.
an actual newspaper where you get stuff on your hands and then you hold it.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how you see the relationship between that world and the blogging world, and maybe where you started first, or how you're bridging those two worlds works, and maybe the different hats you have to wear. I don't know if that's a few places to go.
I don't know if they're bridging the worlds. We're probably butting heads.
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely the thing about the traditional media is that it's just been, that has been, like traditional media being television, being, newspapers, and, radio, I guess. It's just been sort of this thing where they disseminate information to readers, whereas ever since the blogosphere, and in general the internet, when that came around, it just seemed to put everybody on a level playing field in terms of getting information out. So it seems, from the relationship, this is a general sense of what I'm seeing between the blogosphere and the internet media versus the traditional dead tree media, is the print media seems to be like, the official media of sorts, and the blogosphere and the internet and citizen journalism media has a tendency to, correct what they write, and making sure that the information out there that they put out is accurate. And I see a lot of that, and I think that's what we're trying to do. And
it's like the ombudsperson for the whole industry in a way, huh?
Yeah, and also it's just making sure that the information out there is accurate, and oftentimes there's stuff out there that doesn't get put out there that needs to be out there, and I think that's where the blogs come in.
Do you see it as an antagonistic relationship, or is that sort of a nice little feedback loop and they complement each other?
Yes and no. Yeah, I think, there's definitely some antagonism there. I know. Well, for one instance, I was at the Democratic National Convention, and I saw a reporter go up to Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski of Morning Joe on MSNBC, and she asked them, well, what do you think about the blogs? And Joe Scarborough was just like, I hate the blogs, and I was just sitting there just listening to the whole thing, and some of the problems that he had was, I think they were calling him out on some of the things that he just gets wrong.
Right.
And it happens a lot on his show, and he finds them annoying, and he finds them, every other negative.
Potentially threatening?
I don't know about threatening, but they're keeping him honest and making sure that the stuff that he puts out, especially on a morning show, is going to be accurate. And I know that if you go and see the Condé Nast portfolio interview, which actually features me and John Odom from Green Mountain Daily. You'll hear what he has to say. But you know, blogs and citizen journalism media I think is here to stay, and I think it's going to help readers get a more well-rounded perspective and a more accurate picture of what's going on out there.
Okay. That might be a good bridge into the Huffington Post, which sort of has a masthead that looks kind of newspaper-like, and it's called The Post. And I don't think you can just sign up and write diaries and anyone can post. I guess anyone can comment. It's a different model than the Green Mountain Daily or the Coast model, and you write for them. And I don't know if is that a paid gig, and is that they look for you or you look for them, or how that's sort of maybe a bridge blog that's sort of acting more like a paper, maybe.
I don't know how they did it, but I know that some people have just submitted things out of the blue, and it got published on there. And for one person I can think of is Dan DeWalt, the impeachment guru down in southern Vermont. All of a sudden I start seeing, he must have submitted something impeachment related. Next thing you know, it's on there, and there's this row of bloggers, and there's just a row of bloggers of people just submitting all kinds of stuff, and I just happened to be on the site that day and I found him there. And I was like, oh, well, how did he get on there? So he must have submitted just something. But what I got involved with was Off the Bus. It was a special citizen journalism component that the Huffington Post set up, and they asked for volunteers, and they had over like 5,000 people jump in.
Okay.
And so it was really successful. Unfortunately, it's done for the moment, but they're hoping to start up a new project sometime soon. But the person in charge, the editor-in-chief, was Amanda Mickle, who just happens to be from Burlington.
Okay.
And she's a UVM grad, and she's now in New York City at the Huffington Post, one of their headquarters. And yeah, she was the editor-in-chief, and she was the driving force behind it and made it what it is. Off the Bus, that is, not Huffington Post.
Right.
And yeah, right now it's up in the air. We're hoping it continues.
Great.
In some other aspect.
Those were series of interviews you did?
Yeah, it was anything relating to the general election, and it was basically people on the ground covering stories that just don't get covered in the traditional media.
Did you interview Marcos? How do you even say
Marcos
his last?
Malitzis?
Yeah, the sort of godfather of the blogs for that series, or was that its own thing?
It was just my own thing.
Okay.
People contribute whatever they want, and it goes by the editors like Amanda Mickle, and then they just decided to put it up there. I run my ideas through her, and there was another editor named John Tomasic, and I said, I'd like to do some exclusive interviews, just with pertinent people that are just releasing new books.
Right.
And that's one way to get a complimentary copy. So
there you go.
And yeah, and the thing of it is that with citizen journalism and blogs is that I find that publishers are more willing to send out complimentary copies because they know that's going to be publicity.
Sure.
And they'll know that a lot of people will read it because a lot of people read Huffington Post and they read blogs. And
right.
So yeah, that's one way of getting to get free books, but also getting a chance to interview people who want to get the word out. And believe it or not, yeah, people are reading a lot of blogs, so it works.
You interviewed his name's Vince
Bugliosi,
and he successfully tried Charles Manson
a
year ago, and now he's had George W. in his sights, right?
Yeah. Was it 1969 that he tried?
I don't know. It was
well,
way back.
It was way back, but
his book was entitled "The Case."
Well, go on.
That was the Manson. We're confusing Charles Manson and George W.
George, yeah.
Go figure. The Manson book was Helter Skelter, and his recent book is called "The Case Against."
The prosecution of George W. Bush for murder. Yeah.